Hi, I'm Henry Wong from ReMax. I'm here today to explain to you what this auction clearance rate is. So we have auction versus private treaty. Say for example, the current Brisbane auction clearance rate is 35%. Now what that means is on the day of auction, 35% of properties sell on the day, not before and not after. So if there's 100 houses up for auction on that Saturday, only 35% of them are sold. Now, sold means it's unconditional. Generally speaking, auctions go for a 4-week campaign. So let's put this in perspective. You have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. On the 4th week, for example, on a Saturday, if it sells, it's an unconditional contract. Now, according to this, it's sold on the 4th week and it has a 35% clearance rate, which means it's sold. 35% of property sold on the 4th week. Taking into account, a lot of people say 35% is very low, probably compared to the past previous years. But let's compare this to private treaty. Now, private treaty, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Now, have you ever heard of the private treaty clearance rate? No. Why? Because it's not newsworthy. Bear in mind, the media is there to also make money, to generate views, advertisement. If we put this in perspective, the majority of properties that sold via private treaty is subject to finance, subject to building and PES. Very rarely do you get a private treaty sale that's unconditional, like auctions. So if we work backwards, when you buy a property via private treaty, it's usually subject to finance. Definitely more than 90% of properties sold are subject to finance. Right now, with the current banking regulations, most finances works on 21 days. Now, 21 days being 3 weeks. So if you were to sell a private treaty and to achieve an unconditional contract, which means you're sold on the 4th week, you got to work backwards 3 weeks. So you're sold on the 4th week. So you're sold, which means no conditions. You work backwards 3 weeks. Why? Because the banks need 3 weeks worth of finance. So you work backwards, you need a contract in the 1st week. Now, how many properties selling in Brisbane get a contract in this market on the 1st week to achieve the same result on the end of the 4th week, unconditional? How many? I can tell you, it's definitely not 35%. You're probably looking at about 3 or 4%, 5% if you're lucky, to get a contract in the 1st week to achieve the same result. So if you look at that, if you look at 3% to 4%, so if you look at the statistics, 3 to 4% to achieve an unconditional contract on the 4th week compared to 35% to receive an unconditional contract on the 4th week, which one achieves a better result? Obviously, this one. So that's what auction clearance rate actually means.